This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome everybody to the Energy Sustainability Committee meeting on February 20th, 2025. To call the meeting to order. First on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from last month, I believe, right? Did everyone have a chance to take a look at them?
Yes. I just heard back from John and Joanne and the changes you suggested. I need your email and I need your email too.
Okay.
So I hope somebody forwarded you the minutes.
Yes, I did get them.
Their email's on the, when I sent out the agenda.
It's on there.
It should be on there, so you can pull it off of there.
Yeah.
Or I can send it,
Yep.
I'll just give you a chance to do it.
I can see it. I can get it.
Yeah, I think it's good, that's what I thought, so, good. So, with that, is there a motion to approve the
I move
minutes
we-
as
I move we.
And is there a second?
Second.
Second. There's a motion to approve the minutes as submitted in a second. Is there any discussion on that, other than those changes that were made? Which I think that was on the last one you sent out, was it? Or did you?
I just made the changes. I didn't have time to
Right,
send it out
Right,
yet.
okay, right. Well, if that's on you, then fine. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. Additions to the agenda. Does anybody have any additions they want to add to the agenda? Came up the last minute. No? If not, I do, as usual. I just got something in from the town manager. It's about the upcoming town meeting and deadline for warrants. So we'll talk about that under other. Put that there at the end. So you okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. Good. For sure. Okay. So appointments, Amy Kaplan from the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission is here. She reviewed the greenhouse gas report just about a year ago. And there were, which is very good, by the way. And there was several items on there that we could have been working on or working on in parallel. But now we're getting to the point where you need some deliverables to be put into the system for end of May.
Yeah, it's getting to the end of the 2-year period where, end of May.
So, did you want to address that or talk about it, or just kind of do a review on?
Of the greenhouse gas inventory itself.
Yeah, I actually have it. Let me see.
I can hand out copies. I don't know if people saw it. If
I have-
anyone was able to look at it. Does anyone want a copy?
I have it here.
I'll take a copy.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
I've got it.
Yeah, it's dated now a little bit because she did it 2 years ago and she
Right.
was using old data,
Right.
oldish data.
Yeah, I'll take that as well. Actually, I'll take them as well.
Oh, and might as well.
That'd be easier.
Print them out,
Yeah, good.
color.
Yeah, nice.
I think some of the takeaways were that emissions from the residential sector are by far the largest. Doesn't break it down by percentage, but,
Yeah, the total
It's
residential.
much higher. I'd say
Yeah.
it's like about
Yeah.
90%.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, something like that.
So thinking about that, if you think about, reducing greenhouse gas emissions community-wide, not just municipal, that's the target, is residential. So, it's not the only target, obviously. It's all important. And I think, it shows that there were some gains made in reductions in electricity use, emissions from electricity. Unfortunately, the transportation emissions was really hard to figure out because you didn't have the 2020 data. And then very small reduction in heating fuel emissions. But I'm sure things have also changed since then because I'm sure a lot more people have mini splits and air source pumps and so that was from so just to give you just really brief background, PVPC gets funded by Department of Energy Resources to help towns with various clean energy efficiency related things, including, so we manage the whole Green Communities program. If you're all familiar with that, okay, yeah. And so this is kind of part of that. We had sent out an MOU. Every 2 years they give us this funding, and we had asked, I don't know who actually checked it off, if it was Steve or someone on the committee, saying that they wanted help with this greenhouse gas emissions reduction plan, like scoping out a community-wide plan for reducing emissions, which essentially is kind of like a climate action plan. And I know you have your, I printed out the pages from the comprehensive plan that relate to energy, but I think it's just those 2 pages, right? It's just that 5.5 energy efficiency and renewable energy. Is there more?
No, there was actually 7 parts to that in that appendix.
Oh, okay. So I didn't print out the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right, that would have been helpful
Yeah.
if I'd been more familiar with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, I don't know if you essentially feel like you have, because I'm not that familiar with those more specific items. Do any of them target residential emissions? And okay.
There's the housing, they did the housing production plan, and so that does talk about, because I have the housing, and there is some, information about encouraging and things that you can do. If I could find my sheet that had it on. So yes, there is something in there.
Okay. Because I don't know. I'm guessing that the town's not looking to create a whole new or more comprehensive plan, like climate action plan specifically, like a larger community might do that, like have a whole plan that's just, this is how we're going to reduce emissions in the municipal, commercial, residential sectors. And these are all the actions we're going to take.
I think that the climate resiliency and sustainable growth plan is that comprehensive.
That is
I think that
comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It certainly touches on it, right? But I would offer that it's not comprehensive in the sense of it's not focused explicitly on energy efficiency and energy reduction and greenhouse gas emission reduction in a very specific or quantitative or time-bound way, like you might see in a climate action plan.
Yeah, there's working in natural lands. There's several things listed there. Each one of these had several suggestions on things that could be worked on. And so each one of us took one of these things, which we're going to talk about later on in the meeting, so if you want to stick around for that.
Okay.
Right.
There's working in natural lands, there's housing, there's transportation, which is why, when they saw the high amount of transportation on this greenhouse gas report, I thought of you, Patricia. There's food security. There is the energy efficiency and resilient renewable energy section. There's land conservation, open space and recreation. And there's equity and environmental justice. And each one of us took one of those to say, let's see what we can tackle on there.
Right.
Along with that, so there was that, and this came through Doug Albertson, mostly.
Oh, it was mostly through Doug, right?
And so
Okay, I forgot
Doug was the
because-
one that assigned this
Yeah.
also to the greenhouse gas.
I forgot, yeah.
So, we have several things coming into this committee that we're trying to manage and
Right.
we're having some difficult.
Yeah, and I don't want to throw more things on you. I guess it sounds like you already have your goals. You already have your strategies to reach these goals. I mean, I don't necessarily. I mean, we want it to be helpful for you.
Yeah,
if there's nothing that I can really do that would be helpful, I think part of the idea of this was to do community outreach, and to see what priorities were. But I'm sure all of that went into the comprehensive plan development too. You must have gotten.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's getting there, right? Like the climate resilience and sustainable growth plan is this great, I think, launching pad to get into discussions about goals and strategies. But it is more general in the sense that it's, providing recommendations and context to build from. I think we really could use that extra support on goal and strategy and tactic creation, as well as really how to effectively engage and work with the different key stakeholders, the town as well as other groups in the community.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess my idea was, I also wrote up this, strategies document. I don't know if you had
Yours here, right?
the chance to see that.
Yeah.
Basically taking the climate action plan and just breaking it down into some areas to focus on, and wondering if, you might just want to come up with a plan that says, okay, these are going to be the top three things we want to target in the next couple of years or something like that. We want to try to get more residents to do mass save audits. We want to do a solarize program, even though that's not really funded anymore. We want to do,
I
a
like the
heat
idea of
pump.
electrify.
Mhm.
Yeah, electrify Belchertown, try to get more people on heat pumps. Maybe you could try to do a clean energy coaching program. Like just some of these things that a lot of communities are doing. But you have this great, huge committee. I think it's big. I'm on Williamsburg's energy committee. We have 3 people right now, so.
Right, and I think these are so helpful.
I
And
share this. Let me share this. So, and
I make copies of that too.
Yeah.
And I think what's so helpful about that too is there's an opportunity to then see the alignment between those ideas
So
and
click the
strategies
share
to
button
the
on the far,
to the
on the
far
right-hand side.
oops.
See
Oh,
the
there
white,
it is. Yeah.
white, yeah, that one, and then it'll share your screen.
Okay. there it is.
Oh, perfect. Each of these actually hits on probably multiple recommendations within the climate resilience and sustainable growth plan, which are part of the town's master plan. And I think, what's so great, right, is then we could consider these and work on them and then show how they actually contribute to that plan and thus the master plan, which is how we want to be able to measure our impact at the end of the day.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, how do I get this so I can control and scroll it down from here?
You have to click on the tabs on the bottom. Very, yeah.
Okay, there it is. Oh, so
And they're still looking at your screen, but
Okay.
now you can read it.
right, okay. And again, back when you were here about a year ago, and it's kind of like the things that we were working on were some of the same things that were in the greenhouse gas report. So, and we did have 3 main areas that we were focused on back then. One was the municipal aggregation program.
Yeah.
One was the EV charging system, and one was the community outreach. And so there's been various things going on with that over the past year and a half. In fact, at that time, the Belchertown Community Energy Choice program was just kicking off and taking on quite a bit of our time. And there were changes going on in the EV charging system that had to be dealt with. And the outreach has been going on pretty continuous through articles, and we attended various functions in town, with trying to get the word out on various things. So I just don't know whether you can take that and say, this has been going along with it, for your deliverables.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, we can describe what, you've been working on. But I think it's also, what else would you
Yes.
want to do? And maybe, I can just write up a little bit of a plan for you, if that's helpful.
Yeah, that'd be
To
great.
say, these are the areas you want to focus on, these are what seem the most feasible
Right.
Yeah.
for Belchertown residents or for Belchertown,
I think,
what do you think would be, most successful? There's pushback on a lot of things right now, especially now that there's not federal incentives for certain things.
Yeah, I kind of want to get your sense on that. Like, what are some changes, related to, I guess, the IRA or the Inflation Reduction Act? I mean, and
Yeah, I think the biggest things for residential is that there may not be the federal incentive for EVs, and there won't be the 30% federal incentive for solar.
mhm.
If you lose those, you lose a lot of the financial benefit,
No,
especially
I
the
heard
30% solar is huge.
I thought I heard that was had made it, that was,
I just was up at the Department of Energy website, nothing on rebates. It's cleared out. What's on the website is minimal. There's talk about cancer research and certain other things, but if you go and look, there is nothing, there's no information about rebates.
Yeah, I
And
don't
it's only about
think we
how
can count on
by increasing availability of oil production, costs will go down for everybody. And that is the basic, there's like 4 big things, the basic
which website was that? Which website?
Department of Energy.
Department of Energy.
Is there anything in the new state economic development fund bill that may relate to anything we're talking about with energy? Or I know, or my understanding is there's some components of that touch on clean energy, specifically in Western Mass. Is there anything
it.
that
Yeah, I think,
you're
well,
aware
there's
of?
some stuff related to large scale solar,
Mhm.
like commercial solar.
An opportunity in there that Belchertown might want to just understand or be aware of.
Maybe community solar
Mhm.
opportunities. I'm not totally familiar with what's in the bill. I went to a meeting about it.
I know it's still pretty new
It's
to a lot of
still
people.
being
Yeah.
developed. Really.
Yeah.
It's not finalized.
Right.
So community solar would be if they wanted to do like a solar installation, say in a parking lot at one of the municipal buildings or something like that.
Yeah, and then people can get subscriptions to it.
Right.
So it's for people that can't have solar in their homes
Oh, okay.
and you want to buy into it. You could maybe get lower cost electricity that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, and I don't know exactly how it works, but that might be something that could still, work in terms of money that the state might have for that. And, people might still want to do solar. It still might be cost effective for them, depending. But I just think without that 30%,
Sure.
they're
Right.
going to get less people.
Yeah.
Um,
The town kind of voted down, there was a solar, a large solar collection area that was proposed, and it did not pass. Because the neighbors were not happy about it, and I think there
was that
are,
was going to be a municipal solar?
no, it was one
It was
that,
a private.
a
yeah.
a large private one, and we have a lot of solar regulations about where and how. There is some limit. You just can't come in and say you're going to.
Oh, right. Yeah, sure. No, towns in Western Mass got overrun by solar developers.
Right.
And,
So,
there's good reasons to limit it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to go over some of these, or were you just gonna maybe,
Yeah, we can go over them. I don't know how much time
well,
you want
I
to
was
spend,
thinking we-
like 10 more minutes or something?
yeah, and the other thing too is, I think I did send you this, if not, maybe I sent you the whole climate resilience and sustainability growth plan. And at the end, on the appendix, way at the end, is this summary
Okay.
of the 7 parts with all the different
Yeah,
suggestions on
sorry,
it.
I missed that.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, take a look at that.
I'll read through that.
And then I think the other thing that came out of this was you were gonna, we could either work off of this now, or you were gonna maybe see what we can pull from this. And also, we're gonna talk about what we have or haven't done so far on each one of these.
Right.
Yeah, I can do that. I can go through and pull from that, but it might be helpful just to go through this for a few minutes.
Yep.
And you say, oh, these are the ones that look like, they might be good for the town for the committee to focus on,
Okay.
So one thing that there is still pretty good incentives for from the state through Mass Save are heat pumps.
Mhm.
They've gotten better and better, so, I think there was a lot of concern about them operating well enough in cold weather, and they've really
Gotten better.
improved. I know a lot of people aren't willing to just completely get rid of their fossil fuel systems and go to a whole house heat pump, although more people are doing that.
Could I have a question about that?
Yeah,
We had somebody come out to our house, and you have to sign that you will not use your auxiliary. There's one thing that you take it out totally, or the other thing you have to pledge is that you will not use it except for in case of emergencies.
okay.
And I was a little leery because the person talking about this, who's from a reputable firm, said, oh, well, you don't have to worry about that. But I think that is one of the drawbacks that people have. And the second one is that, and I don't know, there's a feeling that if you go and buy a heat pump and use it through Mass Save, that beforehand you have to put, you have to increase, they'll come through Mass Save and tell all these things that you could do. There's a feeling that you have to do all those things also at the same time. So I think there's a lot of misinformation about that.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to do any of it.
Right, but I mean, you don't have to improve your insulation or anything like that to get the rebate on the
I am not aware that you have to do that. It's encouraged because you're going to save more money.
Efficient,
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you? Especially because they give you so much money to do that. Sometimes you don't have to pay anything.
Right, but for people who are kind of like in that middle class area,
Yeah.
where they have X amount of money and they really would like to do the heat pump, but
They don't have the.
they can't also insulate and new windows and,
Oh, well, new windows.
yeah, but I mean,
That's costly.
I think
Unless
housing
it's
stock's
a
a
new
little
mass
low now.
save, unless it's a new mass save requirement, I'm not aware of any requirement that you have to insulate in order to get the rebate.
It wasn't insulated,
For
it was
the
what
heat
you
pumps.
said in the beginning was, let's say you have a heating system and you're switching to a mini split system. And so that mini split system basically electrify your house.
Right.
Is supposed to replace your existing heating system. And so a friend of mine went through that. He had oil and he has I'm not sure he has for hot water, but he'd have to not use his oil system, and to replace that, he would have to put in he has a colonial, so he'd have to put in a 4-station mini split system. And it was just, but if he only wanted to put 1 or 2 in, I don't know if he would have qualified for the rebates. So he wasn't sure.
If you do your whole house, it's more benefit, you pay less than if you just we asked about just doing our basement.
Right.
And so, and then you run into that thing about, well, you're not supposed to use your heat. Well, what qualifies as an emergency and how, are they able to keep track of that? And am I
Yeah, how do
going to
they
be?
monitor that?
Yeah, I don't know how they can
How do they
monitor
know if
that.
you're using
Well-
your propane or your oil?
Especially if you do it after you've gotten the rebate, really, you do, I want it back.
Right, but I mean, I think that for some people that's a little bit of a blockage.
Oh, I'm sure it
Question
is.
about
I
this.
would have my own concerns. I mean, some homes are just better suited to switch over. Like if you have a forced air system, it's better than if you have a baseboard hot water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forget.
Forced hot water.
Forced hot water, yeah. But they do keep upgrading, and there's, now they have the electric, you can do a heat pump to the hot water system. They also do have the electric hot water heaters. I mean, there's a lot of good technologies out there.
Yeah.
So, and MassSafe does offer consultations They do like, I think you can sign up online, it's like a 45-minute consultation. And I don't know, I haven't done it, so I don't know how good it is, but they are partnering with Abode, which is a very reputable energy efficiency firm. So I think the coaching's probably good. And I think they will help you compare quotes from different installers as well. So that can be helpful. And then I've also, another thing to consider, there's an organization, Heat Smart Alliance, based in Eastern Mass, and I had them at that quarterly meeting that I run, that I need to invite you to.
Yeah.
But they train coaches, clean energy coaches. So, if in Belchertown, one of you or two of you, or you could train other people, could do that kind of thing as well. You can help people go through the process, understanding what a heat pump is, help them evaluate quotes, or, and I think you can have a list of certified installers that only install the best cold climate heat pumps, so those are just some things to think about related to like electrification.
Which I think we can segue into, I like the idea of, and Frank, of course, Frank, who's behind the screen here, he did he was the coach for the Solarize Belchertown
Oh, okay.
program. But now we're talking about electrified Belchertown, which is,
Yeah, I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff, there's communities in Eastern Mass that are doing a lot of these things just because there's just kind of more organization out there and there's more money and more bigger communities and so.
that's something that we could,
and along with that, you could do some outreach just to promote, how save energy audits and also this coaching service, or, just making sure people are aware of all the great things they can do and get money for.
We've done a lot of Mass Save, encouraging people to do that in our articles. Yeah,
So I've heard there are some concerns from like propane industry, and I would imagine some of it is simply industry lobbying, of course. But are there credible reasons to consider? Are we going too fast with certain electrification campaigns, and how can we wrap our heads around the nuances of that?
I think the main concern people have is they're going to pay more.
Mm-hmm.
Or, so what happens is they do function well at very low temperatures now, but they get somewhat less efficient. So they're more expensive to run.
Mm-hmm.
Now they did just, are you guys National Grid or Eversource?
National
Grid for the most part.
They're supposed to be implementing a lower electric rate for people with heat pumps. That hasn't gone into effect, and I don't know how much lower it will be. But that's one way the state is supposedly our utilities are going to incentivize this and try to make up for if it is a little more expensive. I think right now you will save money if you switch from oil, but you might not if you switch from natural gas, although I know natural gas rates just went up
They
a
just
lot.
went up a lot.
So now maybe you would.
Oh, yeah.
Well, come they went up.
Yeah.
I thought that's always supposed to all come down.
But one misconception people have is, if the power goes out, I won't have heat. Well, you won't. In any case, any furnace relies on, unless you have a wood stove, you're going to lose your heat, even if you have an oil burner or natural gas.
Like that,
So I think I totally understand people's concerns, and I do too. I'm not sure I'd be ready to just jump to a whole home one. I'd really have to do some research and feel really confident, because that's.
I will tell you, there is outreach from the oil dealers that they have sent letters to all their clients saying that this is not a good idea. We're not there yet. It's not a good idea. Yeah, because I've received them.
I think that's probably mostly they're just worried about losing
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
their business.
Sounds like a little intimidation.
The other thing with that too is, I think, at least my friend of mine was telling me a story about what his experience with the heat pump and, or the mini split was. The person he was talking to said it's really meant to marry a solar system, solar panels on your roof,
Right.
with the mini split, because that'll run the mini split, and you basically can heat your home for not much.
Not much, yeah, right.
If you go over a little bit, but in fact that's what I have, like my solar system. That's what I'm doing now is I heat with wood. I have electric baseboard, which is really expensive, but that's when you put it in when you built the house, because as we could afford. It was cheap. But we heat with wood, but we've since put in solar panels and the mini split. So during the day when the sun's out, I run the mini split, and at night when it's cold, I run 1 or 2 stoves. So, and I'm having net zero days even now, or for a while it was going backwards, but this cold snap it came back up. So, yeah.
John,
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So in 2016, in our house, we converted from an oil furnace to all mini splits. And having had it for a few years now, I can speak to the fact that I did save money. I definitely saved money. And from what I was paying for oil based on the added electricity. One of the byproducts too of having warmer temperatures is the mini split systems do much better at 20 degrees than they do at 0. So sub-zero weather stretches them and there's spikes the electric consumption, and but still it doesn't compare to oil. It's cheaper. So anyway, I just want to make that point.
I mean, I will say that models now, because you said 2016, so I think they are continually doing better at very cold temperatures, but they're still going to get they'll be less efficient.
Mine's good till about 13, starts to get less efficient, but the newer ones are even better than that. So
they did a couple good pieces in the Boston Globe where they interviewed homeowners who heat just with mini splits about how they functioned when it got really cold. It was mostly positive.
And Frank, now that we're on Belchertown Community Choice, you're getting even cheaper electricity. So it's a win-win, right?
Right.
That's right. I love the idea of doing another solarized type campaign and focusing on electrification and mini splits. I think we can convert a lot of people.
Yep. We should definitely consider that one. Anything else that really jumps out on this? You got the.
Yeah, I mean.
The municipal buildings part. I mean, that's. Well, I guess I got part of that because I'm working on trying to get some solar canopies installed in the parking areas.
Right.
I can talk a little bit more about that later, but also in the climate growth plan, there are several things about what to do with municipal buildings and how to make it more efficient. And the town's done some of that already, like all LED lights, and they've done what they had to do to really help improve that.
One thing to think about if you go up one is, I didn't put in right there the adopt the specialized opt-in municipal building energy code. So I should have put it on here, but that's one of the requirements to become one of the climate leaders communities.
Yes.
Which is, I think I talked to you about that.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is in the Green Communities program, and if a town, once you get designated, or I don't know what the term is, become part of that program, then you're eligible to apply for much larger grants. They will fund solar on buildings, municipal buildings, but you do have to do a few things.
Right. Yeah.
Including adopt the specialized opt-in code, which is basically kind of a net zero code for new buildings.
Right.
Now, is any of that funding at risk as far as you know?
No, that's all state. Green communities is all state, it's all good, you don't have to worry. Yeah.
Just for now.
So I can also send you just information about that program and what's required. That,
Yeah,
might
that'd
be
be great.
something to pursue.
Please do.
I know they were considering it when they were looking at the Shavershire Middle School project, which ultimately did not go through. At least it hasn't gone through yet.
Right, putting solar on there, and is that what you're saying, or the?
Yeah, they were looking at opting into or doing the specialized opt-in energy code when they were looking at the energy systems for that school as part of the feasibility. As part of the feasibility
We went
study.
to that meeting, didn't we, at one point, or?
I participated in quite a few. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it only affects new construction, and it's not, the stretch code just got stricter. So it's not that much more of a commitment. It's basically just any new buildings. I don't know how many new homes are built regularly, but in Belchertown, and new commercial buildings.
So it's homes and municipal buildings?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Or all
Commercial.
buildings? Because one of the things that if you came through the center of town, the major nonprofits in town are the churches. And if you saw, we have relatively some old church buildings, and the Catholic parish is trying to build a new center because they're split between two different roads, and they want to get everything on one. And they are interested in being, doing solar or whatever, but for nonprofits, there's no funding and they can't get anything.
Well, there was until it just got taken away. Because under the IRA, there was
Right, that was, one church, I think it's one church got it. I saw the list. I had gone, there was the grants were given out about a couple of months ago, and one church did actually qualify for it out of, I don't know which fund it was, but but for them, there was no incentive, and it's pricey and I would think,
it is.
and a lot of nonprofits have old buildings and.
Right, so what's the condition of the roof and all that. I mean, there are leasing, power purchase agreements, if you don't own it, and, you're still paying something. But.
Let's continue on here.
Yeah, I don't want to take up too much of your time. Yeah, and then there was just a section, I know you've got the community choice aggregation, which is the last part, and you said, it sounds like you've been focused somewhat on transportation already with EV charging.
Yeah, but, I hope we can try to incorporate some of these concepts in here as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's another.
Let me just, here it is right here, the EV charging stations. I like to lead by example, and several of these.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we've done a lot with the streets and sidewalks and the transportation. The transit company the public transit has, there's a courthouse down here, and there was no sidewalk to the courthouse, so they wouldn't stop there. They did not continue. And now that they've put the sidewalks in, the bus will come down there. So that improves it. The other thing is that hopefully they were going to be building some apartments with over behind the police station in the old state school. And the bus company also said that they would, once that was developed, they would go and make sure that there would be a bus stop there too, to encourage people. And that it was Carriage Grove is the name of the development, and that was going to be pretty close to net zero. They were trying to do everything, and that still is on. They are looking for funding, and I don't know how much of their funding was going to come from grants. So we won't know that, but it was supposed to have, you know, a range of incomes available.
So there's PBT service from Belchertown to Amherst, is that it? Or
Yeah.
does it go to Spring? There's nothing in Spring.
Well, you
More
go- you
driven
have-
by Mass. I think it's the Mass
You go
bus.
from Belchertown to Amherst or Northampton, I guess, depending upon
Yeah.
the bus.
Right.
And then you can go from Northampton to the Holyoke Mall.
Oh,
But I don't know how many hours that
that would
takes.
take a while.
But I mean, there is some availability.
So Mimi, from your work with the Planning Commission, can you think of any examples in the area that you think are really interesting or exciting that maybe we could learn from? And also, like, any partnerships that you're seeing take place in communities that are helping drive this kind of work forward, right? Because I think when we think about what we're trying to do through the committee and what, you know, and collaboration with the town, it's just capacity and resources here that is, you know, tends to be our big challenge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, and it's understandably generally the larger communities with a little more money too, and more staff that have done these things. So, Northampton, Amherst, and East Hampton have probably done the most in terms of, so they're the ones that have adopted this specialized opt-in code. They're trying to become climate leaders. East Hampton just like last year, I think, developed a whole big climate action plan, and I think they either just did or they will soon hire a sustainability manager. So there's a lot going on there. Smaller communities, so Pelham just adopted the specialized opt-in code. They have a very active energy committee there, and I actually rarely talk to them because they don't need our help because they do everything themselves, like their green communities annual report and everything. So it might be interesting to talk to them. It's close to you.
Pelham, that was Pelham, you said?
Pelham,
Pelham, yeah.
yeah, and of course Amherst. You probably all know Stephanie Chigrella there. She's been there forever. And,
We got an inside man here.
in Inside Man, do you work in Amherst?
I work in Amherst, yeah.
You don't
I work,
understand.
no, that's okay. I work for the chamber, Amherst area chamber.
Oh, okay.
And the sustainability lady from Northampton actually lives in town, and she came to a meeting
Oh, right, yeah.
and told us about things that were coming up.
They have a new person, there, Gabby or something?
Gabby, yeah, it was Gabby, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, they have their whole 3-town aggregation plan that
Yeah,
they just,
They're working
whatever
on
that's
that. I
called.
don't think it's that gone through yet? I don't think it's gone through yet.
Green power or something. I don't know. But I'm trying. I really love the clean energy coaching thing, and I would love to get that going on like a regional basis.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think that's maybe something that we should think about, if anyone wants to volunteer to pursue that, become a clean energy coach. But I want to look into, we should all look into see what's involved. in
Yeah,
that.
and I can hook you up with this organization that does these trainings called Heat Smart Alliance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you their, well, you can also just look them up, but,
Heat Smart Alliance.
yeah. And, something out there. There's something else I was gonna say about
Sorry.
what another town was doing, but now I can't remember. Oh, I know what I was gonna say, energy manager. We also, I don't know if Belchertown's part of this, but I think they might be, that we got a grant, although again, I don't know, it's money from the EPA that went through the state. So we'll see what happens, but it was to fund a shared energy manager.
Oh, that'd be amazing here. Yeah.
And I'm not sure if Belchertown's one of them. I feel like I should know, but I'm not the one who's been working on it. It's someone else in our office. So it wouldn't even be half-time, because it was just be one person splitting their time among like 13 towns. But it would still be helpful.
Oh, so helpful. Yeah.
And so, and then we were going to try to supplement that with a Mass Save had also a grant for an energy manager that towns could apply for, and it's for a 3-year position. So I believe that we were applying for that as well, and that would add on time, for this energy manager. So that would be, if you did have that, then that would be additional capacity,
I'll check with Steve on that.
Be amazing.
Might have gone through Doug, but Steve would know. I'm sure.
Good.
So I guess then to move forward on this, it would be good for me to know more also about what you've done. What are the newsletters you were talking about?
Okay, so
Can I read them?
we do news articles in the
Oh.
Sentinel.
Okay.
We are a newspaperless area because it's Northampton or Springfield. And Springfield used to have, until the end of last year, they had an insert in the paper once a week that included Belchertown, and they did some really good reporting on meetings and things like that. So our only source that goes out, actually everybody in the community gets, because it's sent by mail and everybody gets it, is the Sentinel, which is a freebie paper, and they do a good job of including information. But that is it. That's one of the things that we've grappled with, is how do we connect with people other than that's our one source. But the town has invested in a communications director, and it's a part-time position, and she is running a Facebook, which we never had a Facebook, and they have updated our webpage, our website and our webpage. So that's really it. I'd say one of our problems is that we have trouble going out to meet the public and encourage them. We are having, John's been working on it with the Conservation Commission, and we're going to have a day for like an Earth Day.
Right.
You're working on it too.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Yes, you mentioned that to me.
Yeah, so,
yeah.
and we had one last year, but we did not get a tremendous amount, and of course it was pouring rain. And so that is, one of the problems is connecting with people. John has been up at there is a farmer's market.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about
Yeah,
that.
we've been,
You're there every week.
we've done things at there's a yearly, this Belchertown Fair. We had people there in one of the buildings the building gets a lot of traffic because there are people, it's all the awards, for the
Arts and
crafts and food and everything like that. And, for all the hours we were there, we didn't talk to too many people.
You don't know until you go,
But it was probably worth it for the couple of people we talked to, and explained to them about, increasing to 100% through our energy choice. And so that's what we're doing. But now we'll be able to, because there is the Facebook page, we can start, what I'm hoping is that we can start having, energy and sustainably hints could go out, let's say once a week, something that would, then you could, get hopefully some clicks and people pass it on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard. The young people are very busy, and other than town meeting, but even town meeting, what percentage of people come to town meeting?
Depends on the issues, but
Yeah.
probably
10%?
a little more than that. 15, I'm gonna say 15 to 20 sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, it sounded like of everything we talked about, like the most interest is in maybe some type of electrify Belchertown type of
Electrify.
campaign, and also maybe the clean energy coaching.
Energy coaching,
You know.
along with some of the things we're already doing.
Yeah, I'm just talking about new things.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you don't need a lot of new things, because
Right.
you're already doing so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there somewhere where it's summarized, like what you've done? Like what you're working
Our-
on?
We do an annual
Annual
report to the
summaries.
town.
Wait, I'm sorry, wait, what was that?
Sorry.
Annual reports to the town.
Town.
Oh,
I
There's
can
annual
send,
summaries.
I can send that to you.
Right.
And I think,
Okay.
John, you have probably all of them, right?
I probably do.
because then what I could just write up a little is based on the master plan, or the, what do you call it, the resilience?
It's
mouthful. Yeah.
Climate resilience and sustainability
Sustainable
growth plan. Sustainable growth
We
plan.
need an acronym for that.
Yeah, we do.
Based on that and
It's
what
like
you
climate
tell me,
growth plan. We call it
yeah.
climate growth plan.
like based on that and what you tell me you're working on, and then identifying maybe a couple new areas that you could work on as well or incorporate, then maybe that's what I would,
Anyway,
I don't know how helpful that is to you, but that's what I can at least give to DOER
Yeah,
to show,
yeah.
oh, look what all they've been working on, and this is what,
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms, I want it to be helpful for you, so,
I mean, it's not, it may not be like a direct thing, but I mean, the work that you did in the clean energy extension as well, that all has input to us, so it kind of drives us to
well, that was the idea of it, is that taking the inventory, you having the inventory and then saying, oh, okay, well, from that, based on that, what do we want to work on to really reduce the emissions?
yeah, I mean,
Based on what
so
we
it's
learned
there,
from that,
right.
you
It may not be like a direct thing, but it's all part of
Yeah.
of what's driving us, so.
Yeah.
Like I said, Doug has, with the growth plan and with the greenhouse gas, it's all kind of being filtered, and I don't think it's say that
Yeah.
there's only so many we can work on at one time, so.
Yeah, so if you send me the annual summaries,
I will,
and then I'll send you information about the
the
Key Farm
specialized-
Alliance, that coaching, and then,
and the opt-in, the special
Yes,
wires,
and then the
opt-in code,
and the climate leader communities.
and then if anybody wants to get back to me, and if they're interested in doing the climate energy coach, clean energy coach rather, want to get information on that, that'd be great.
Is there a website for that information about the clean energy coaching?
Yeah, so it's Heat Smart Alliance.
Oh, it's that one.
That's the organization that, they started by just actually being coaches, and then they moved to training coaches. And I don't know, what I don't know is how it works exactly, the training.
Yeah.
So we need to find out.
Right.
No. They were really interested in having more contacts out here. They have worked with some people in East Hampton. East Hampton has an energy committee. But I think that was it. So it'd be great to get more of that out here.
Good. All right.
So, all right,
Thank you.
great. Well,
Thank you so much for
Yes.
making the trip.
Yeah.
Where are you coming from?
oh yeah, no, it's crazy because I actually drove out to Ware already for a meeting this morning, drove to Springfield to work at the office, came here, and now I have to drive home to Williamsburg.
Williamsburg.
But that's all right. This is still better than meeting over Zoom.
We appreciate it.
Chris Mason's out till next week or something like that.
Yeah, I got an email, an out of office email to the 25th, he
Till the
said.
25th, yeah.
What was it you were gonna talk to him about?
About the solar, information on getting the solar canopies.
Oh, right,
Any kind of things you send away, so.
Chris is a great source of information.
You're welcome to stay. We're gonna go over what we have been working on, if you wanna stay for
Oh,
that, or
okay.
or you can watch the video when it comes out on BCTV. At least it's not, it was supposed to rain and snow, when I saw the forecast yesterday, I'm like, oh, great, but looks like it's not gonna happen now, so,
I think I'm gonna head home because
yeah, there's something along there.
it's over a 12-hour day at this point.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, I just wanted to
Sorry.
extend the invitation, so.
It's a decent drive out.
If it
Mhm.
wasn't, if it was earlier, I definitely would. But I really appreciate you taking the time, and you guys, you're doing great work.
Thank you.
There's not that many communities out here that have really active energy and sustainability committees, so. No packers on them.
Thank you, I'm sure we'll be
Thank you very
in
much.
communication. You're welcome to come to any meeting,
Okay,
and maybe we should meet again before, this is in May, you said it was, the delivery.
yeah, I mean, maybe, yeah, I don't wanna, interfere too much with your time, but maybe could meet in April
Yeah.
or, whatever.
Or we just start a communication link with when you send us stuff and when I send you stuff, and
Yeah,
we'll figure it out from there.
yeah,
So, good.
yeah, so just go through you, or should I email the whole committee?
What do you think?
What's easiest?
I think it's easier if it just goes through you.
You want to filter?
Okay.
Yeah, because we do have to be careful about
Oh,
only,
open
only
meeting.
Right,
three.
that's what I was thinking.
Only three,
We
yeah.
can't respond back
Yeah,
to
that's
all
right,
on
that's
something
right.
like that.
That's
Yeah.
right,
So,
Okay. Oops, I almost forgot my glasses. All right, well, thanks a lot.
Good.
I won't take any more.
Okay, so let's go on to the next thing, is the report from the three subcommittees. Let's briefly go over those. The first one up would be the transportation with Patricia and Mike, who's not here, Mike Dishnak.
Okay, so as far as the EV, Steve Williams is working on the purchase orders. He needed Mike and I to go back and give him all the information from the other two quotes that we had. So I guess the
Right.
Belchertown needed that
Right, they
information,
got more than
which was a pain because we had deleted a lot of it because we thought we got our
Yeah,
quote
because we had
approved.
selected.
And everything was done,
Yeah,
so we
yeah.
didn't think we needed that old information. So Mike did a lot of work going back through old
Oh,
emails and
sure.
everything, and I was going back through the old paperwork, trying to put together the information so that he could fill that out. We are meeting, Mike, Steve, and I are meeting with the vendor and the installer on Tuesday, the 25th, to kick this off and make sure we're on the same
Really?
timeline and
It's
get
gonna happen
everything
then.
going. Yeah, I think this is gonna happen, so
Wow.
finally. So,
That's good news.
yeah, so that's good news. And then, other issues, so I reached out to Craig Della Penna, who is the president of the Norwotic Network for the Massachusetts, or Central Massachusetts Rail Trail. And he got back to me and gave me basically 4 points. So he told me that I should connect with Leanne Connolly, who is Friends of the Belchertown Greenway, which is what Rich Prager had said that we should get in touch with that group. Well, he gave me a name and contact information,
Good.
so I can get a hold of her. And she is the one who would be the one to either set up a booth at the Earth Day Fair. So I'm gonna get in touch with her regarding that booth.
So the date on that is April 26th,
Yeah,
and we're not sure about the time, either 9 to 1 or 10 to 2
and
or 10
is it gonna be on the town commons?
to common.
Okay. So I will reach
The
out.
flyer she gave says 9 to 12, the one that
9 to
came.
12, yeah.
Yeah.
Who sent that?
That's from Sarah Fortune,
Sarah.
from the
Sarah.
Conservation
Oh,
Department.
If you could forward that to me
Oh.
so I could share it with.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
I don't know,
Connolly.
I missed that one.
It
Yeah.
just came, I mean, we just put it together.
We just put it together, so I will recheck with her
Yeah.
that this is,
It's
It's
something we can
it's still in
share.
flux, I wouldn't, give us a little more time on it.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because,
We're having, it's still gelling right now, so.
right,
Okay, so the second thing is contact Steve Williams, he said, who is writing a letter of support from the town and the select board, but I don't know who he's writing the letter of support to.
Then that's for what now?
A letter of support for the rail trail.
Oh, good.
So I don't know if this is going to the state or what. I've got to talk to Steve
Yeah,
about
yeah.
this. He said that they want signatures from town manager, select board, all department heads. But he said he'd love to have the signatures of everyone on our committee and on this letter of support. So I will talk to Steve about that letter, who it's going to, and does he think it's appropriate for everybody in our committee to put our signatures on that too.
Good.
And a third thing, he thought we should have a liaison from our committee to the Friends of Belchertown Greenway meetings. Those are the meetings that are the first Tuesday of the month at 4 p.m. So it's not great for me to make those. I could probably make some of them.
first Tuesday?
First
Meetings are
Tuesday at
those?
7.
Which meetings are those?
The Friends of the Green,
Oh.
Belchertown Green,
Oh, okay.
which is the Belchertown section of the railroad. And then he said he would like everyone to subscribe to the e-newsletter, which is at www.masscentralrailtrail.org.
Could you send us those links in the email?
Yep.
Both of those with that information, because, again, especially with the new folks, if they want to, you're just getting your feet wet, I understand that, but as you hear these things,
Yeah, it's a lot
you're
of,
welcome to say, oh, I want to get more involved in that than.
Okay, so I will send that to you.
Good.
So, from what I will do next is get in touch with Leanne Connolly to nail this down.
Yeah, at least, we're at least the date and the morning, we're solid on. It's just, we're still, I think locking in on a couple things, so.
Does it cost anything for anybody to have a booth there? Okay.
No,
You might even get pizza.
yeah.
That's something we're working on.
She's working on some food donations for the workers. Oh, and they're gonna be giving away, for the first 100 people who drop off a full bag, they can get a tree, a pine tree of some sort. That's the plan as of now, as long as the trees arrive.
I'm just looking at that Heat Smart Alliance that Mimi mentioned, and it says you can request a speaker for your event. Learn about heat pumps, so I don't know if that's something.
Oh, yeah.
That would be perfect for the Earth Day.
Yeah, worthwhile looking into. So I mean, I'd be willing to find out if we could get somebody, if you'd like me to do that.
Yeah, go ahead.
As long as they know that it's not
Okay.
okay, and that it's not a group of people, it's standing around and talking to individuals.
Yeah.
That it's an individual thing, it's
Right.
with booths and,
And we don't know what kind of draw we're gonna get.
Yeah.
That's all, this is kind of new,
Yeah.
so.
I know, this might be more of, if it were an event where,
Right.
you wanna,
Yeah, find out what
Yeah.
what their
they would do,
requirements
yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And,
and
but
if
the
not
idea-
Earth Day, maybe we could plan an event to draw people in.
Or could we make the Earth Day that kind of event where there will be a speaker at this time?
she was keeping it to the town common, and I think it really wouldn't work with
Okay,
especially if the weather's bad. That's the main,
right.
yeah.
Like last year.
Because we had talked about a couple of different things, and she said, well, because I said, we could move it into the auditorium or something like that. She said, but no, she wanted to keep it because of the,
Okay.
One idea, so Amherst has a really big sustainability festival every year.
Right.
And you can check their website to see who the vendors are going to be and see if any of them might be interested in also coming participate in here in Belchertown.
yeah.
I think.
There's some family friendly kind of activities as well.
What do they call it in Amherst?
Sustainability festival.
Festival.
Not sure the date this year. It's probably been posted somewhere.
Charlton has, that's the one that we looked into. Charlton does a nice job too, so
Yeah.
we're kind of keen off those things, but we don't want to go too big. I think right now is what the
Right, because
concern
we were
was.
concerned that last year we probably had 17 people come through. So that's, for a lot of people coming, they want to have, they're looking at 100 or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, it's very weather dependent, and we don't have a real big history. One of the things that we discovered is because Belchertown didn't have any event, up until last year, that everything was done on like the Cub Scouts would have their cleanup at some place, the 4-H would have their cleanup, or the Girl Scouts might be doing something, the Friends of Wallace would have their cleanup, and they're all on different days. So that, and the town actually did the cleanup over a week. You could pick up the bags, and then you could drop them off all during that whole week in the town.
DPW.
Yeah, transfer station, at the transfer station. And they were green bags, so they knew that, not the orange bag that you would have to use. So they would accept them for the whole week. So it's never been a unified one thing. So last year was the first year, and it rained. It rained and it rained and it rained. So
We had a couple of booths there too.
we had some booths there, but yeah, we're kind of trying to take some baby steps and see if this is really the approach, or is there something different that would draw people in, like maybe a speaker instead of trying to do this trash collection as the focus, but have
Or have it in the auditorium or the old town hall.
Inside.
Yeah.
Right.
something like
April
that.
inside.
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it's
Right.
yeah.
Actually, I guess the old town hall is booked all the way through, because it was all just, there's a lot going on in the town hall around that time of year, so.
Oh, so April's not a good time.
Well, no time. They
He
said
April
that
was booked.
well, the recreation department rents out the old town hall,
Yeah.
so it's a money source. So we wouldn't be giving them any money.
Right.
So
Well, no,
we would
I would rent this, it's cheap to rent it. It's only $15 an hour.
Oh,
Rent the
okay.
town hall.
But somebody would have to pay for it, so it's not like we have the money to
Yeah.
transfer.
Well, maybe we can also like brainstorm what would be a good marketing strategy, like next meeting or something, because I think that's like weather for sure, and marketing is also going to be a huge component to how you get people there. And so, what are the different mediums for that, right? Could we even get like a discounted ad in the Sentinel or something like that? Could we go, or like, can we get it in the school newspaper? Or
Oh, well, we
newsletter,
have talked about all
all that,
those.
right?
We've gone
Yeah.
through a whole list of how to do it.
Nice. Okay.
And so we are, the Sentinel, they have, last year they did have we had our article.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and they also had an ad. And, so, and that's,
I'm talking about,
Mm.
it's a high school, send one of those flyers home or something like that, those don't go anywhere sometimes, or.
yeah, so
The
we,
newsletter, getting on the newsletter.
yeah, everybody's can't see us.
I'm gonna have to do that, thank you. So.
Okay.
Yeah, just click on that one, yeah, there we go.
Oh, we're still sharing that screen.
Yeah, well, that's,
Good, thank you.
okay.
No
Folks, you're
So
back
we
on
kind of-
TV.
Yeah, we're kind of bouncing around here on that.
Yeah.
Patricia, on the transportation, is there anything else on the transportation end?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
So, actually, we're covering a lot of things in the other section, so that's fine, So, the next is the Belchertown Community Choice, which is myself, Frank, and Chris. Let's see, we have, Frank, Chris and I met last week, I guess it was, Frank, sometime last week, and just to go over, really to try and get this opt-up going again, because there's not, I think, what was it, like 60 people that opted up to the 100%, and we need more than that, so. We took a look at the flyer that was developed for the real estate, and we want to punch that up a little more to put more positive information on there. Recall last week we reviewed the two handouts. There was this one that was supposed to get posted on the social media, it was a two-page, but it had some good information around how many megawatts were being saved and how much cash was, so it's, cash and carbon savings. So we want to maybe get that on the handout for the real estate agents to give to new people coming into town. So we're working on bumping that up.
John, when somebody comes and buys a new house and then calls up National Grid and says they need to transfer, are they all just automatically put in to the system or not? Do they have to opt in versus once it's a new person coming into town?
What Good Energy does, that's our consultant for this, they do the quarterly sweeps. So what they'll do is they'll get the new, either new residents or people that have switched off of a third-party contract and, whether they went back on National Grid. Anybody that's on National Grid that's new to town, they get sent the letter to opt in and with the choices that they can have. So the flyer to the realtors was really to, I think, just make them aware of it, and so they can look into more, and if they want to choose to go in, they can choose to go in anytime they want anyway. So it's kind of an introductory thing. So,
do you want to get me some of those flyers? I'm a realtor, so
yeah, good. Yeah, that's right. So we
want to just send me some or give me some.
We're going to put it back to Good Energy with some of those corrections or some of those revisions that we want on there. So it'll probably be a couple weeks yet before it gets turned back around.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So hopefully, does busy season start for you like in the spring, or is it busy?
Spring is busier, but it's starting to pick up right now. So yeah, anytime.
Good.
So when people move and they first get on National Grid in Belchertown, they don't automatically get the basic plan?
No.
They have to choose it?
They have to be aware of it.
So, if we give things to the realtors, it will really set us out above the rest of the crowd, because the minute those people, it gets in the record that they own the house, they're going to be flooded with every provider.
Probably, yeah.
And it's very hard to sort through all of them, because a lot of them that have been coming through my house asking me to change look an awful lot like our program, the green energy or whatever. So I think, catching the real estate people and encouraging them to have the people take a look at it at the beginning.
So maybe that's something, Frank, that we should make sure is spelled out that on that flyer, that it is the town program, and just so that's clear to them.
Right.
Yep.
Good. Let me see what else we have. So yeah, we were talking about different ways of making it more visible and trying to get people to get more into considering the opt-up. And another idea that we came up with was some type of periodic, whether it be monthly, weekly, every couple of weeks, like an update on the town's social media page on the amount of carbon saved and the amount of cash saved. And we'll probably see if Good Energy can start supplying that kind of thing on a more periodic basis and get that on there. And then it led to the idea of maybe even doing something like, a tote board, like sometimes when there's a fundraiser, you have the big tote board on the right outside here, and you see your level rising through time. Set like a peg on how many 100%. When we have so many at 100% renewable coming into their home through the Belchertown 100 option, how that rises, and then equate that to how much cost saving and how much carbon saving that is. So we're trying to pull that together as well. Anything else, Frank, come to mind?
Well, we do. I'm hoping on whatever Earth Day event we pull off, that we can in advance publicize that we can have folks opt up right on site, because we'll have Wi-Fi and do it right then and there. All they need to bring is their essentially their account number, their National Grid account number, and the customer ID number code. Yeah, and we can make it easy for them to bring that. But in the visual, we're talking about, as John said, having the social media really emphasize our reaching toward a goal, and then having some same visual representation maybe on the town common. Like, United Way has done, and other groups have done, fundraisers in the past where they show inching toward the goal in a thermometer or whatever it may be, but come up with something attractive, and get approval to get it on the town common, and try to get some community spirit around reaching that goal, and what that translates into in carbon, and make it real for people, and celebratory, and recognize them, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, regarding the I did reach out to the Tri-Lakes, and they'd love to exhibit there that day, provided we don't have a fee, and we're not looking to charge. I have not yet reached out to any of the solar PV installers like Northeast Solar, who was the Solarize contract winner in Belchertown, or PV Squared, or some of the other solar companies.
We're not going to do that. Sarah said no.
Yeah.
She said none of that? Okay.
Yeah.
No to commercial.
Yeah. We talked about that, and it's not a good idea to just pick one or two, and not open it up to everybody, and then it becomes really messy. Yeah.
Even the company that was awarded, that was vetted by the town and awarded the contract.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna follow her advice and hold off on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the nonprofit in Lake Tri-Lakes, that would be okay.
Oh yeah. I think sticking with non-profits.
All right. Very good. All right. That's all I got, John.
Okay. That's all I have to. Let me do a quick check here. No, that covers it. Good. Public outreach, Joanne and Todd.
Todd, you want to talk about the article that you and Reed worked on?
Yeah, so I sent you guys out the draft this morning. Did everybody receive it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anybody. I know we've got a couple new members. Yeah, so did anybody get a chance to look at it yet?
I saw that you added in the line for the April 26th event, so that seemed to flow nicely in there. So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, if you didn't have a chance to look at it yet, it's just about what town residents can do to be sustainable right now. I know that we talked about earlier, or Mimi was talking about too, that funding and tax incentives and rebate programs, it's all kind of up in the air. So it's just to kind of give some ideas to people in town what they can do, whether it's staying involved locally, politically, town meetings, things that they can do in terms of going to our meetings, emailing the committee this Earth Day event in April. And Reed gave me a few paragraphs just on things that people can do as consumers. And yeah, that was pretty much everything.
Yeah, I like that they had like a, I don't know what the right word for it. It's almost like a philosophical or a again, like reaching out and starting to think about things you can do, and rather than like a lot of concrete things. I think what you said in your email that you sent out, that can come later. What's the word count on that right now? About
It was
about
low
750.
600s. I'll have to double check, but it was in the low to mid 600s.
Okay,
Yeah,
because I think we can use that to key off of, because again, there's several things that there's a whole list of things that you could add to that, like
Oh yeah.
don't use your clothes dryer in the wintertime. Invest in a couple of clothes hangers, and if you can, dry them indoors and put some moisture in the house at the same time. Come back on using your clothes dryer. A lot of simple things like that. So maybe what can come after this is just have a series of tips just listed. And I got a bunch
one of the
them there.
things that I had thought of is that since we now have someone doing the Facebook page, we can make up items that we want to have, and then that can get posted, let's say, once a month or every other week or something like that on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
Kate just had something about, what do you do with those vases that you got at Valentine's Day?
Yeah,
You
right,
may
yeah.
not need
Yeah.
7 vases, and you may not have room for them. So she explained, she gave some really good ideas, and so we can go and set up and just send her over a bunch of these for when she, maybe doesn't have anything to say that day, or wants something bright and perky, or, thinks it's appropriate for, so we will work on that and get some items so that she can have something like
Can we
that.
just, as these ideas come into our head, just like send them to you?
Sure, go ahead.
Like, again, there's a bunch of things
right
going
ahead.
around, yeah. And then we just need someone to keep track of them. And then, like you said, if there's can be like a periodic thing on the Facebook page, so just a simple thing. It doesn't have to be,
Just some. The other thing that Todd had suggested is to do a letter to the editor about the Earth Day program. He said that, and he's probably right. Sometimes getting a letter in the editor column versus just a regular article might reach a different group of people.
Mhm.
And we're hoping to also do another article about the fair event, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
In, let's see, it's April 26th, so like about 2 weeks ahead.
Yeah.
So that we have, but maybe something, a letter in, and then Sarah does usually buy an ad in the paper. So we would probably, and also anything we do on the Facebook page, we can also send over for the cable TV. Now the cable TV is going over to YouTube, so I don't quite understand how that's going to work. I don't know if you got.
Oh, really? No?
I received notice of that someplace, but just to let you know. And I think that's. Todd and I both have credentials to do things on the new webpage, so we'll be moving some things around and adding some things
On our page?
on our
Maybe
page.
like
Yeah.
administrators?
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. And that's it.
Nice. Good. Okay, let's quickly go through the the climate growth plan. Pull out a cheat sheet here. I'm just going to take it from the top, and it's okay if we just give a quick summary of anything that may have happened over since on each of these sections. So the first one is working in natural lands. Frank, did you have the chance to knock anything off there?
Other than doing some basic research, I have not yet gotten with Doug Albertson, and I probably won't unless it's by telephone until April.
Yeah.
Just to get get a little more specifically into some of the, zoning audits and how it would affect any of our goals there. So I haven't done a whole lot with that other than some basic research, but I will get with Doug and hopefully
Good.
be able to do that as soon as I get back.
Okay, and when are you coming back?
April. I'll be in person in April, so I'll miss the March meeting.
Right, you'll be
Remote.
remote, you'll be
Yes.
remote in March,
Yes.
but you'll be here at the beginning of April. Oh, I thought that's what you said, right?
Yep.
Good, good. Okay. Housing, Joanne?
Okay, I contacted the planning board. I had given a pretty in-depth explanation two or three meetings ago. So the number of solar panels being put up in town has continued on. People are still doing the solar panels, but that those numbers are from a while back. In terms of people buying them now, I don't know because of whether there's any grant money or rebates. And the number of people looking to put accessory apartments, which is one of the state rules have changed on that to encourage people to make use of, nanny apartments, grandma apartments, as a way to help handle the decrease in available housing for affordable housing. And once you build one of those, you can rent them out. So that's the hopes that there would be some more affordable housing. But there hasn't been any increase. But the town, while the state has set up their regs, the town is still working on their bylaws to get them to match with the state. They hadn't finished that.
Regarding that specific topic.
Yeah, for the accessory apartments. And as for Carriage Grove, the planning board didn't have any more information. And, Carriage Grove is going to have 10% of affordable housing and be mainly self-sufficient and energy-wise. They're going to try to have as much as possible. And they are waiting on financing. And I did put a call in, but the mailbox was full. I wasn't able to talk to anybody. And I don't know how it's going to be impacted if they were depending upon grants, which a lot of these, whether they were state or federal, I don't know. And part of the housing that Mimi was talking about, if we do some more outreach, obviously it's going to be better if, and particularly I think with working with people who have older houses, because it's very hard, like you were talking about, if you don't have forced air heat to, you're going to have to get all mini splits and lots of stuff like that. So it's a lot harder for older houses. And so maybe we can do something on the line of weatherization. I don't know, even to the part of maybe we could do something about holding informational or classes and how do you how do you put weather strip out? Not everybody's had the chance to do a lot of home repairs.
Yeah.
And, some of these things are easier, and we just assume that everybody knows how to do weather stripping or caulking or whatever, and maybe we could look into that and see if we thought we would have any, if there was a market for that.
Clean energy coaching thing that Mimi was talking about?
Well, maybe that,
Yeah.
we could find out if, is that included?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's housing.
Okay, thank you. Next is transportation with Patricia. I know we've kind of split off and talked about a lot of that already, but anything else you want to?
No, it's pretty much the same as transportation, so.
Right. So,
Yeah.
something you
I don't have to
reached out to
repeat
the
it.
people that, food security was Chris. He's not here, I don't think. Energy and efficiency, renewable energy, that's me. Like Frank, I'm in the still the research mode. The focus is to look into the solar canopies for municipal parking areas. Right now, I've reached out to the DOER. That was Chris Mason I mentioned earlier, but he's actually out until next week. I haven't heard back from the Clean Energy, UMass Clean Energy Extension yet either, so I'm going to put a call into him. I've got a couple of contacts with in town here that I want to reach out to that's maybe done some of this. What I'm looking for is for an installer that has done those specific type of projects rather than just your typical residential solar company. But I might start reaching out to like Valley Solar or some of those others that are doing that. Amy Kaplan gave me some advice too of things to look into. So I'm still in this research mode of trying to find out if it's been done before, rather than trying to reinvent the wheel. I haven't found that yet. So. But I will. Todd, you had the land conservation, open space, and recreation.
You're on mute, Todd.
I'm still in the research phase of that as well. I've kind of gone back into the planning recommendations and reviewed that and did a little bit of research beyond that. But this past month I've been just working on the article, so I'll be honest and say I just haven't had time.
Yeah, that's understandable. Good. And equity and environmental justice, Jacob. That's the last one. That's what you had.
Yeah, no updates from me at this stage.
And I don't know with the way things are looking right now, it's kind of a tough spot to be in, because that's all kind of like the DEI stuff that's kind of falls in that category. So, it's just kind of sad what's going on with all that. Okay. So next up is the environmental fair, the Earth Day. We already talked quite a bit about that, but if anybody has anything else to add, I don't think
At one point in time, we thought maybe at the environmental fair, we could do something about the contest award, talked about the winners at the contest. That was something that had passed by quickly. Anyway, we were hoping to work with the library for the contest for the essays. So we aren't going to be able to, because they're pretty overwhelmed with all the things that they are doing, and it just isn't going to fit into their time span, because they are working with the murals for the containers. So we'll just put that on hold for next year and find a way that maybe we can do that.
Joanne and I did meet with the Conservation Department along with Louise Levy. That's kind of like the core team that's trying to pull us together. So we shared a lot of things that we talked about, but, it's basically called Celebrate Earth Day. Is that what's on the flyer? Is it Celebrate Earth Day?
Yeah, and it is registered with the Earth Day people.
Yeah, okay, and so there was concern about.
Yeah, it
about
was
the Earth
registered
Day.
last year also.
So, again, we don't wanna go too crazy with this, right now. But we're hoping that this will be the next step, and either it's gonna grow to something bigger next year, or maybe if it doesn't work out, we'll have to rethink on how we wanna do it. So we're kind of in the trial stages with this whole thing right now. But we do have people coming together. Looks like we're gonna have several booths there, and, reaching out for donations and, things like that, so. Keep everybody posted on that.
John, do you have a commitment on specific booths so far? Like,
We have, the pollinators, is people, they were there last year. I'm pretty sure they're gonna come this year. Frank, you said Tri-Lakes was interested. They said they could do it.
Yep, they'll be there.
Yeah. We have the composting, there's a composting service, although they're not a nonprofit, but they're the only ones that do this, and they've been at several other of our events in town that we've kind of trialed them at some of the food events. They're actually.
Oh, they were the ones that were at the Belchertown Fair?
Yeah, they were there. Commonwealth Sustainability, but their name is, they changed their name to Banana Composting, I think it is right now, so. Banana Composting. So they, either one or both of the owners will be there as well. We're hoping to have either the Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts hold a can and bottle drive, which we think would be a good draw as well. And is there somebody else that we had on there? Oh, the rail trail people, or it was the other group we're hoping to have come to that. So we got half a dozen or so right now. We're thinking about getting Mass Save to see if they can come and have something, or maybe even this other group, the Heat Smart people.
Yeah.
We can find out about that.
Yeah, I'll find out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Great.
And are we gonna have our committee? Is our
Oh,
committee gonna
yeah.
have a
Oh,
booth
of
there?
course.
Yeah.
We're gonna have, certainly the opt-up, but we wanna have, the committee there.
I was thinking of doing something about recycling, that we might have some thing about, since recycling is such a hard thing to explain to people, because every trash collector has a different recycling system and different things they take. But we try to encourage people to go to the Mass website that explains what's recyclable and what's not. And we'll do some stuff with that.
Yeah, and I think, if we can have internet access, certainly, have our website up there and have all those things that we have listed on our website with all those tips and ideas, and
Right.
show people that, that is there for them to access and have the links through there, or a handout with it printed on there. But certainly having, we can get a couple tablets up there or laptops up and running, that would be great as well.
And as for going through the schools, that is a possibility. We would submit something to the superintendent, and after that, if the superintendent approves it, anything that happens depends upon the principal or the teachers at the school, which is, if you give out flyers, it would be whether the teacher decides to hand them out, or if, for the younger kids, if the teacher decides to put it in everybody's backpack, or if they would just put a pile of it at the entrance to the school or the library, or wherever they would do that. So we kind of decided we would not do flyers. So most of the schools have some type of they all have a calendar, and some have some type of notifications to the parents, a newsletter or whatever, or a weekly thing, something like that. And it would be up to the principal or the person writing who does that, whether or not they would advertise our event. And we usually leave some flyers at like the senior center and here in the building, the library. And the library is not doing anything this year for Earth Day as of now. Last year they did have an indigenous gentleman who did some activities and a talk. And they did give out trees, and the library is again giving out trees on a sign-up basis. You have to sign ahead of time. Whereas we should be having trees, which if you collect and then bring a bag, you can get a tree. And they do grow. I've grown many of them.
What about I don't know what it's called, that it's down by the tennis courts, or what used to be the tennis courts?
Oh, we can add
The
that.
display, could that?
Potentially.
They're advertising the blood drive
Yes,
right
right,
now.
the digital board there.
Yeah.
I meant to bring that up at our meeting, that Monday,
I
Tuesday,
guess,
that we could use that digital board.
yeah, I think you would just have to find out who, what, when, where, and,
Right.
yeah.
Because I had, when we had the launch of the sign up and the enrollment period for the Belchertown Community Choice, we had that digital board set up with those dates on there, so I'll have to go back and to see who I talked to about that, but yeah, that's good. Thanks for bringing that, I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of thing that, as we said earlier, a lot of it's gonna be the marketing, getting the word out and how to do that. And, now with the communications department, pretty active, and, those types of things with the Facebook page, and hopefully we can get the word out more than we have in the past, so. Good. What else? Me or Kathy, you got anything else to add, or how you feeling about everything so far?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
have too
thanks
many
for-
ideas, just the article,
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much. But
Thanks for adding into that. That's good. Okay, and then again, consider as you're hearing all the stuff that's going on, there's a lot of holes that can be filled and plugged in, so contact me if you have some ideas or recommendations or anything along those lines, certainly.
I think what Mimi was saying, like looking back at the overall, the resiliency plan, it's, as Jacob was saying, it's quite broad and generalized.
Right.
It's not really an action plan per se, but as she was saying, maybe focusing on 3 areas that we could really make progress in rather than spreading ourselves thinner and trying to, tackle each area.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my observation, because it is quite a broad plan, if you will, with a lot of elements in each of the different areas.
Yeah, there was a lot of discussion on how to attack that, and I think, it was like, of all those recommendations, that's each one, we were gonna like say, let's maybe focus on one that we can kind of, but it's maybe we gotta look at a different approach too, so.
Because you made a lot of progress with, the EV chargers and the transportation, and, so maybe keep going on with those, areas where you've made the most progress.
Right. And we'll see what Mimi comes up with too. She's going to try and summarize a lot of that too. So hopefully she'll have some good direction to provide. So good.
I presume this was from her, there were the recommendations to reduce admissions.
That was on her slides that she handed out, right? Yes.
Yes, her slides.
Yeah.
And I think she has some things that probably we could really work on. There were slides, I don't know, from some other presentation, I guess. But basically there was promote increased level of residential weatherization, green conservation, and then heat pumps, solar, energy efficient appliances, and increase in use of production, increased use and production of clean energy, solar, again, residential solar and storage, and percentage of renewables. And those were the things that she had come up with for.
Yeah, I think that was on her initial presentation. I'm gonna take a look at that again.
Yeah,
Again, there's a lot of pieces up there, so, yeah. It's tough to manage. So the other thing I want to bring up was just this memorandum from, I don't know if it was just sent to me, but this came from Steve Williams. This is about the special town meeting and annual town meeting. Did anybody else get that or from him? Okay, so it was just a memorandum on when the town meeting is, the special town meeting and the annual town meeting. It's the same day, May 12th, 2025. One's at 6:30, the special town meeting, and the annual town meeting's at 7. But the memorandum route was if anybody has any warrants, and if any of the committees have any warrants that they want proposed at the town meeting, those dates is March 13th. March 13th for the special town meeting and March 20th for the annual town meeting. So what that means is, for example, when we did the municipal aggregation program, we had to get that through a town vote. And so we had to do certain things to get it as a warrant on the town meeting to be voted on. I don't think this committee has anything like that, but I just wanted to share this information. If I'm missing something, please let me know.
So the town meeting is May 12th or May 13th?
The town meeting is May 12th,
and the warrants are March 13th.
and the warrants are due by March 13th. I can send this out to everybody. If that's helpful, but again, I don't think we have any warrants. I don't think there's any that we're gonna put in front of the town for a vote or ask for permission for anything, so.
Do we have to do that for the EV? We didn't have to, we just needed select board for the EV?
Yeah, we didn't need a warrant for that. Right, there was no town vote on the EV station.
Right, well, the only other example that comes to mind would be something like the specialized opt-in code that we were talking about earlier. But I don't know if we can get our act together to propose to defend that.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, that's why I saw this too, to be honest with you, like, it's not a lot of time to pull a warrant together, because, you gotta basically put it in front of the town, you gotta have a public, some kind of public hearing or event, so the public is known about it, and then you gotta get it on the warrant. I'm not sure if there's a certain amount of signatures needed for that. Yeah, I don't think so. But certainly it's probably gonna go in front of the select board, so that's a good point though, to look into.
Wouldn't that have to, some of it come through the planning board anyway? I think that's,
Probably,
Yeah,
I have
that's
no idea.
the
Yeah. I mean, what
opt
is
up
this?
I think would have to be.
Yeah.
They would have to do it and then maybe the town vote on it.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Anything else from anybody?
Mike had printed out some things about what other towns are doing and with a question mark, can we emulate any of them? So if anybody didn't get those, somehow
Who put that together?
I,
You had sent me that a while back, I thought.
yeah,
Yeah,
Mike had brought it to the meeting.
Mike petition.
Yeah, when he worked on it with some other people.
Oh.
Somebody
I
had
thought
done
they
some
came from
research.
Your group.
No, it was, Mike had an interest in it. And,
Yeah, that's a good thing to take a look at and review as well. You have one of those, I think I got one
Oh, yeah.
already, but. Okay. It's the problem when you meet once a month, there's just a lot to go through, so sorry for, if you got here by 9, that would be wonderful. The next meeting, we do have to talk about this, is March 20th. Now, I'm gonna be out of town, I'm in DC.
and I'm out of town.
And you're out of town, so, I don't know if we have anybody to run the meeting on March 20th.
And if you want to know, John can show you how to get in and out now of the program, because it's a lot easier.
Right, so, I guess I'm gonna have to figure out, I can run the meeting remotely, I think, from where I'm gonna be. I hope. But someone does have to set this up and get it running. Maybe I can talk to Esther, who's here setting this up. Does anybody else have a conflict that they know of on that? Frank, did you say you'll be able to make it on the 20th?
Yeah, remotely.
Remotely, yeah.
Yep.
Todd, I know your job is tough to say, but any conflicts that you see right now? And you're on mute. Or maybe he's left, yeah. So I'll be in touch on that, but we'll have to figure that part out, so. Let's see, the next in line would be Patricia to set everything up.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I'll be there, but let me double check.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah.
And I can get Esther to come in and set everything up.
Okay,
And
yeah,
then
that'd be
it's
great.
pretty easy. It's just a
Well,
matter.
I'm in a meeting, I'll have to call you back, okay?
So, good. All right, so the next meeting is March 20th, as it stands right now. Good. Any questions of the press or public? Anything else in the public online here? Doesn't look like it. Okay. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
I second.
Second, there's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
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 Thank you. Thank you, remote people. And,
All right, we'll see y'all next month.
See y'all.
Have a good night. See you next month.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Take care. So.